HITMAKA and HITBOy. Y'all got the whole.
See, but I'm on the radio.
Smash.
HITBoy is not on the radio.
Wait. Shots fired. Wait, hold up. I was just bigging y'all up as new producers. I didn't even know where this was going.
No, I love
Wait,
HITBoy.
hold
Gunshot,
up.
gunfire.
Yo, you knew this? Jim, you knew about this?
Anything.
HITBoy is a legend. He's a legendary producer. He's been doing it way longer than me. He's a great guy. But I'm gonna keep it a bean though. If you play the soundtrack to your life for the last 4 or 5 years on radio,
man, come on.
I know it's got to be frustrating with him because my name is so similar, my brother. But
It keeps getting worse.
In the darkness, but they bringing me to the darkness. Look, I'm usually homeboys with producers I get compared to, but on this one I wanna see him stretched out, extra leg room. I don't really know dude, he seemed like a cool cat, but I never once heard Metro Boomin do boom bap. I never heard a Southside beat without an 808 in it. HB in drunk driver mode, I swerve in every lane with it. I fuck with Mustard, he could make that ratchet shit with his eyes closed, but now I'm starting to wonder, can that nigga chop soul? I just seen Young Berg spoke on the wave. I should do him like Trick and snatch hit out his name. I had to code it the game, I had to code us of days. I'm like Debo on his cruiser, how you got no credits without co-producers? Time to get these niggas the royal flush, no rotor rooter. It's HITBoy bucking just so.
Set the tone. Yeah. Fresh new year, fresh night, yeah. Walk with a bop like I really don't care. I don't care. Blows the shit, scorching, I'm lit. In the plain white tee, got immaculate drip. Cut from a different cloth like I'm shopping at Kip. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. You already know why we here. If you saw that clip, you already know why we here. We got producer beef, but not really. Producer competition. But more importantly, we got conversation for this episode. So this episode 198, you know, I wanted to talk about this by myself. And then I was like, how boring would that be, man? I don't even want to hear myself for long stretches and amounts of time. So I went and got a team together, you know, established music connoisseurs, producers themselves, and want to bring them in on some of this conversation, man, because I've been seeing it happen all over Twitter and stuff like that and out there, and people have their feelings, and it continues to come up. You know, what's a producer? How do people feel about the people that don't have the hands-on, the equipment versus the people who are being the maestros and putting the play together? Like, what is it? What are we doing here? Let's define it, or let's bring some type of I don't know, some level-headedness to the argument. So without further ado, I got my mans here, C. Jones and GREENERY. Welcome them to the couch. Welcome them to the couch.
What's going on?
Chilling, man. So, you know, like I always do at this time, man, y'all introduce yourselves a little bit, let people know about what you got going on, where you been, what you've done a little bit, and we'll hop right into the conversation.
Green, you can go first, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Yo, what's good people? I go by Greenery Beats, or you can just call me Greenery. That's on all pretty much Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow me at Greenery Beats. Things I've been up to lately, I've been working nonstop. January, me and JR dropped the R&R single that's going to be on Vanity Stain 2. Also January, me and Michaela dropped a single that's going to be on her project coming out this year. I dropped a single on Friday, on last Friday with JR. That's going to be on Vanity Stain 2. Been getting a lot of good recognition for that, been getting a lot of applause for that. So shout out to everybody that's been showing that love. It's going to be a busy year this year, so stay tuned. Please stay tuned.
For sure. And he also dropped some work with me January 26th. He got 2 joints on Blank Canvas. If I don't say, I got, selfish plug, of course.
I'm gonna let my man know himself, because it was a project that I had been waiting to drop with Cash Flow, man. I'm glad he reached out to me. I'm glad he been entrusting me with the sound that we've been creating. And those 2 tracks are definitely the standout tracks on that album. So I thank you, man. I appreciate you so much.
No doubt. C. Jones, man, let him know.
Oh, man. I just been in my audio engineering bag, man. Y'all can follow me on all platforms at C. Jones Music Official. Last year I've been in school just trying to get classically trained on audio engineering, but I'm a producer by trade, ex-rapper, or I'll say retired rapper. But just going into production, just launched my BeatStars page. I did some audio engineering work on Cash's Blank Canvas. I did View of Me. So hopefully y'all like that as far as audio engineering and mixed and mastered. Shout out to Nums on the production though. But that's about it, man. Hopefully this next year I can push a lot of music and content out there for the world. So.
For sure. So fellas, man. I mean, who wants to take it, man? I mean, I have my thoughts, but y'all here. You know what I mean? Y'all my guests, so I'll let y'all go first on y'all thoughts, your initial thoughts from the Hitmaker comments to Hit. You know, just coming responding right back with the music. You know what I mean?
You got it, bro.
All right. I think when it was first introduced to Hitmaker, I think he could have handled it, in a humble manner, but I think, he kind of, gaslit this whole beef, you know what I'm saying? But I think that you could go, Hitboy brings up a very good point of, being multi-genre, going across the board with it. Is that really important, or is staying in one lane and solidifying one lane, important? So, man, it's a great argument that I guess we're going to go into it, but I just want to hit it from there. Start off on where the beef started at, them saying that you can't produce this, you can't produce that. So let's talk about that,
For sure. What about you, Green? What's your initial thoughts on it?
I like that response, man. I'm kind of with C. Jones on this. It's a debate right now that it's kind of getting buzz, honestly. I think it's been spoken of in little chats and group messages, but overall it hasn't been addressed like it was with Hitmaker and Hitboy. Hitmaker definitely could have responded differently, but my thing is, I feel like it's too many friends and a lot of industries anyway. The competitive nature has kind of been taken everything. So what he did, it kind of drove Hitboy to do what he did. Would we have heard Hitboy kind of deliver something like that had Hitmaker not said that?
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Would him work together to create something like that outside of Hitmaker saying that? We got to take that into consideration too. So it really, it just opens that door to those chats that on Twitter, I talk about it all the time with, beat maker versus producer lanes. Do I stay in this lane and just go crazy, or do I just spread myself all across? And I know I can go crazy in everything that I do. So it started a good discussion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But Hitmaker's a salesman, right? You know what I mean? And he's up there with Jim Jones. So he has an album to sell. He has an album to promote. I think they got like 7 joints that dropped this past Friday, where, the lion's share of them are remakes. And, I was talking to my brother about it, and we went back and forth about, that Hitmaker, all he do is just do remakes and shit. I'm like, whoa. You sound just like our parents sounded when we was flipping they shit in the 90s from 70s music, 60s, and so on and so forth. Like, you can't, I don't want to see it that way, because if that's the case, then there's a lot of joints that I really do like, that producers that are hands-on with it, that do the programming, that do all those different type of things, that what I think Hit is getting at. You know what I mean? Like, all right, man, if I can do all these things, I could put the play together, I can be behind the scenes, I could be on the scenes, I could I know what to do in this thing inside and out. You know what I mean? So where do you weigh what's more important? The hits that's on the radio and that's the people are gravitating to, or the body of works and you being talented to do all those things? Like, does it really matter? Or, you know what I mean? What do y'all think?
The dynamics to that change when a person such as Hitmaker makes that comment. Because for me, it kind of comes off the same when DJ Khaled makes those comments that he makes about his. So, and everybody know what I mean when I say his production. It's no different. Now, when we say, he's behind the scenes, he's doing A, B, C, and D, Is he really? Is he really?
I gotta imagine Khaled is like just his track record for so many projects he's dropped. Like I equate it to this, and CJ, you can kind of chime in here from your military days as you come up in rank or come up in stature in the music game. One could imagine you have less time to do the shit like programming and doing all these different type of things that literally take the time away. You can be out networking, being at a party, or chasing down Ho, chasing down Nas, chasing down the people that are hard to go get and motivate them to get in the booth and do something that's a hit. You know what I mean? And there's value in that. Like there's value in that to me. And I can never shit on Khaled or a hitmaker that's having a run of hits because maybe they don't give a shit about body of works. Even though Hitmaker and Khaled have body of works that they put out with people, you know what I mean? And have restored some of these R&B singers, if you want to be real with Hitmaker, you know what I mean? So
yeah. But I think that the elephant in the room is like production, because producer is like loosely used. And there's a whole difference between record producer, music producer, and beat maker. Those are the three people in the room that I think our culture in hip hop and in R&B that people get confused the most with. Because, even people ask me, oh, dog, I didn't even know you made beats. I was like, well, in some genres, when you say make beats, that's just a drum beat exclusively. But in hip hop and R&B, the beat is the whole musical foundation. So a lot of these guys are saying they're beat makers, and that's why other genres look at us like, oh, those are just beat makers. But we're actually producing things. So I think, across the board, the verbiage is kind of misconstrued. So like Khaled, he's a record producer. Metro, Hitboy, those are music producers. You know what I'm saying? Like even Metro in this new joint, Metro even switched hats. He record produced his whole album. So I just think the verbiage is kind of used loosely. So
very much so. I feel like once people can understand and categorize that, and it only matters in the hip hop community for me. So outsiders, I'm not really. The people in the hip hop community, if we can acknowledge, all right, this is because we kind of categorized it with the genre of music. So we should be able to categorize it just as C. Jones said. A record producer is not a beat maker, and beat maker is not going to do whatever. So I do have respect for Khaled. I do have respect for him because I don't put them in the lane than I do with Puff Daddy. Because I've never really seen P. Diddy touch anything. But
he say this go there, take that out. That's what he do. That's probably not classically trained on any music theory, to be honest with you. He just knows what sounds good, and he's creating the vibes, and he's going in there telling the people that do know how to do this shit well what to do. They figure it out, and they meet somewhere in the middle, or they nail it. Or if they don't, they out of there, and he find somebody else to do it because he got the money to do it. You know what I mean? So there's value in that too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, if you're making beats all day and you're a music producer, sometimes it's great to have a record producer come in and say, oh, that snare ain't working or that kick ain't working. But you like sometimes in production mode, you're in tunnel vision. You know what I'm saying? You have a tunnel mode, and you've been listening to this beat loop over and over a million times. And sometimes it's good to have someone that actually knows music to come in and tell you, hey man. And he's like, you know what? I didn't even think of that. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But everyone has a job. So
right. I find go ahead, Green.
And like you said, it kind of helps to have that person or those people, like a group of, hey, let me run this beat by you. I kind of do that myself. Yeah. Like my wife, one of them, if she knows music and she has the ear for it, she can tell me, hey, this ain't it. This ain't it. So it's kind of, and if it's past that level, it's like, all right, let me get to the artist. And then if the artist likes it, now let me get to the listener. And if the listeners, the people that's in charge of the stream websites, they're going to pay attention, and I'm going to get my revenue from it. So it's kind of like a that goes on with it. And as long as you got that group of people that can be attached to that chain, it can't go from just your ears to artists to radio.
I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
I agree.
happens
Definitely.
of the formula, because I would love to know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just from being on the rapper side of things, and I tap on the program and do it for fun. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't nowhere near call myself a beat maker or even a producer right now. I have nothing out, so therefore it doesn't justify me as calling myself such. But when it comes to the record making, yeah, of course, I send that shit out to. See, Joe says all my roughs, no matter how bad they are, am I going in the right direction with this?
Yeah.
Is this hook terrible or is it good? You'll hear some of them green when they get a little bit more fleshed out. So I got the different levels when I send it to people because I mean I got to get out my own way. Sometimes I know I'm nailing it, and sometimes it's like I just need that reassurance because I'm trying something different. So
Right.
every time I'm trying something different, but. What I was gonna say, Green, before you were saying it is, and you hit it on it, CJ, right on the nail. Like, why in rap music? Why do we have this this thing to where our folks get to the point where they feel like it's all about me? It's what I did on the record. It's what I did here. How I shine. Like, why do we get so fixated on I made the beat, I rapped, I did the hook, I promoted it, I marketed it. Like, I mean, that's like a lot of self-worth to me, but like by doing all this shit, this podcast and doing all this shit, I would love to take a load off and hand this shit off to a bunch of different people. Like the last thing I want is it feels good internally, but it's a team game. Like this music thing is a team game. Like, and these guys take it so seriously that they can do all these things. Like I get it, but I don't at the same time. What do y'all say about that need to be like, I programmed it, I did this, I got this kick a little bit right, I got the snare. Who gives? Like, I mean,
Cash,
for the people that don't give a shit, the listeners, like, make it make sense, y'all.
Cash,
for me,
I'm gonna ask you, Cash, who can do it better than you for what you're trying to do for yourself?
Nobody. I'm gonna always be the number one. Yeah.
So I think like HitBoy was saying, like I did all this. It's like sometimes people don't give you your flowers or your pat on the back. Like if you produce, engineer, executive produce, and put an album out, bro, like sometimes people don't even acknowledge that. And so sometimes it's a little bit, you feel a little jaded and you want to let some steam off. I think right now, HitBoy on this subject, he's letting a little steam off. Like, look at what I'm doing. I'm across the board with it. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely is. He definitely is. I feel like same as what you said. He's to a point to where I don't get the acknowledgement, but we got to realize the day and time. And we're in a day and time where we don't have their attention span as long. And when we attention span is long, it's like, hey, well, I got your attention. Look at what I did, and you're listening to it, and they like the crowd is like, all right, boom, boom, boom. I hear it. Now I'm over here. Look at what Kendrick Lamar dropped, and look at what J. Cole dropped, I think last year.
Yeah. It's relatively 2 years ago when J. Cole dropped and Kendrick dropped last year. And I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about it.
And after that, it's like, next thing. So it's the appreciative nature of the fans that kind of takes away from it. And it's the attention span. Like people don't pay attention long enough to where it's like, hey, he did this, he did this. That's why the loop makers, they don't attach the names of the musicians who played the piano or who did the 808. And it might be 8 people on that because the producer's not going to pay attention to that. Even us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my thing is like, dog, like with Hit going on this Nas run, like that's 4 fucking projects that he got that are every time they've come out, they've stopped what's happening in rap music. Like it's people have stopped to have a conversation about it. So if you have a 4-album run, I don't care how much you got on the radio. It kind of goes on to what you value. Do you value the streams, the notoriety, the positions that Hitmaker's in? Because he's been in several different A&R and exec positions, and is a relatively new producer when you really think about it in terms of times he's been producing. So it's all like in what you value. Like, you know, it's back to the rap, right? In rap, what do you value? The lyrics, do the lyrics matter to you first, or is it a catchy beat, a catchy hook, or is it simplicity in a person's verse, or is it the motherfuckers that do the syllable, multi-syllable shit and they're actually saying something as opposed to the ones that are not? Like, it's so many different things on, you know. That's why, like, I tend to make my top 10 lists as far as favorites for the year, because it's my favorites. It's what I like, not necessarily me trying to appease people. And I think that when you get into that back and forth, that's where you kind of, it's like, man, that's why I'll be like, man, do it really matter? But I do love Hit coming through with competition and putting it on wax, and Aaron, because he could have went on a Twitter or IG tirade talking shit, but no, he chose to do it with the music. But before y'all respond to that, one person called a stray that I don't know why they called a stray, Metro Boomin. I would I don't know, it's Southside too. So I got some I got a clip from Mustard too, and they from the West too. He's from the West too. So you know, Hit was in his feelings. He had some shit to get off his chest. But I want to play a clip from you know, Metro Boomin was on Gilly and Wallow's podcast recently, probably about a month or two ago, and he actually broke this down on what he feels a beat maker and producer is. So I just want the people to hear it for a second.
A beat maker is somebody who strictly makes beats. So you might be in the room, you making beats all day, and like that's strictly what you're doing. You're making beats. Like, you're not really dealing with no sessions or no vocals or really no artists directly, or you know, none of that type shit. Like, you're making beats and either sending them off or giving them to somebody, and they do make the song happen. Now, a producer, which some producers actually make beats and some don't. A producer is somebody who sees the song out from the beginning to the end to make sure it's the best thing that it could be. That's the true definition of a producer. So whether it's coming in with the artist, getting them fired up, like motivating them and putting the right beat on, then they got the right beat on, then it's like you might help with what kind of direction are we going in, or just like a coach, kind of like all the way through, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that type of thing. And then even after the artist recorded their vocals, you might go through and be like, okay, these 4 or 8 bars, maybe we could have did this better, or do this over. It was riding until this point, just do that shit over. Little shit like that. Or you might go back in and put an orchestra on the shit, or get somebody to play guitar on it, or just all kinds of shit. Get the song mixed, master everything, just see it all the way to the end, just to make sure it's the best it could be. A beat maker is somebody.
So yeah, so I think he, just like you did, CJ, you know, initially, I think he he hit it right on the nail, man. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
So I don't understand Hit Boy's beef with him. You know what I mean? Because I think I'm not like super well versed in his catalog in terms of Metro Boomin, in terms of just like the albums. But you've heard his records in the club. You've heard.
Oh yeah.
I'm familiar, but like I'm talking about like the shit that he's saying that I've never heard Metro on Boom Bap or anything like that. While I haven't heard him on Boom Bap, he's sampled a lot. It's just not Boom Bap sampling. He's putting it behind 808s, and I'm like, all right, you know, I guess he had to catch it straight. But what y'all think about his definition?
I would say this, like I said before, I think it's our culture, man. Like, I understand what a music producer is, industry version of it. But I think our culture makes it hard when you talk about verbiage, how we use it. Like, if I produce a song, I'm going to say I produced it. I'm not going to say I arranged it, or I'm the loop maker or something. If I produced it from ground up. But the thing that's different about our culture is our music, our beats are I won't say commodity items, but we can sell them. You know, you can lease a beat to 50 different people. Does that mean you produce the record for them? No, but you produce the song, you produce the beat for them. So does that make you a beat maker? If you own 50% of the composition, no, you're a music producer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. But if you look at like maybe rock and roll or something, when you say you're a beat maker, you're just a drummer. But we're talking about hip hop. So I think what Metro Boomin brought up was great for conversation, but what we're doing in hip hop, we deal with beat makers and producers. There are a lot of music producers behind the scenes, and I think that's where, you know, like Khaled, like Puff, they come in and people like, Puff ain't a producer. Yeah, he's a music producer, he's a record producer. So I just think the verbiage is so you know, behind it. It's hard to understand. It's hard to understand if you're a fan, if you're on the other side of it. But when you're in it, sometimes it's still hard to understand because people call people different things for different things, you know.
I think it's just the negative connotation of saying somebody's a beat maker. Because it's just a negative.
Yes.
It's a negative connotation because I'm sure you guys have worked with people as producers in the past to where all they wanted was the beat and they did whatever they did to it. They didn't ask for your input or anything like that. So are you less proud that you landed on said artist's project because they did the mixing, the mastering, and everything that, you know, they added some clips in, got the person to sing the hook, you know, because in essence, they're producing too, you know what I mean, as well, because they're putting the whole play together for themselves, you know what I mean? But are you any less proud of, say, Green, you work with JR, are you any less proud of your shit because he did the other legwork, you know, the legwork for the beat? Are you?
And see, that's even that part. Now, there are times to where, like the last thing we just dropped, I sent it to him a week before he dropped it. And this was him calling me on FaceTime like, hey, you on the game? I'm like, no, I'm not playing the game. Oh, listen to this first verse. And it's like, for me, it's like, hey, I'm going to take your input on how this sounds if I need to tweak something. And it's like, hey, if I'm a part of this process, and since he broke it down to me like that, I'm seeing the different tiers of it to where I'm not even a record producer. I'm a music producer, but I have made albums. Have I gone through with the full process? Not at all. Have I been a part of the full process? Fully from start to finish. And I think Kash can attest to that because even if he sends me a verse in return or a clipping of something that he recorded, it's like, I'm a process of every step that you're making. I send you the beat. You tell me if you like it. You're rapping on it. You send it back to me for feedback. I send it back to you if I need to tweak anything on the beat. And now I got a feature on it. Let me know what you think about this verse. They might not need to say this. So as we go along, I'm definitely a part of the entire process. Even once we drop it, it's like, I don't want this to sit in your folder. What's the date? Let's do the promotion video for it. What platforms are we posting this on as far as social medias? So for me, that definitely attributes to what you are as far as this music thing goes. And he said it is really only in the Black community and the hip hop community because we're so competitive. We're very competitive.
Very much so.
I don't do nothing you guys do as far as engineering and rapping, but it's like at some point it's gonna be like, man, if they on this track and it ain't my track, my track sound better than theirs.
Yeah.
And I don't even do the thing you do. So it's that.
Yep. For sure.
You know,
go ahead.
You know, this is kind of like, I think when HitBoy came out with that verse, this is kind of like the producer's version of when Kendrick dropped Control. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I get it. As a rapper, you can respond, but how do producers respond to others? like how do you...
Let me throw this beat on. No, let me go get Alchemist and ball your ass up. You know, that's a cheat code.
You know, in all seriousness, you know, Tim and Pharrell, they did like a producer battle. That's great because they played hits that they made. But if you like, how can you respond with something fresh? Because a producer needs an artist to carry that message to people. You know, strange enough, as you brought up, you know, Hitmaker, I always get them. Hitmaker and Jim Jones dropped a project on Friday, but also Hitboy and Music Soul Child dropped a project on Friday.
This could be okay. Go ahead. I like where you're going with this.
But the music project is great. You know, all original music. You know, Hit does his thing. But the thing with Hitmaker and Jim Jones, man, there is radio play. You can radio play the whole album.
They got some joints.
They got some joints.
They got some joints on there. So.
You know, but the music in Hit Boy is great. But you know, if you just, it's hard. It's hard.
Look. If you had to twist my arm and say what I played more over the past weekend because I was searching for new music, I've gone back to the gym more times than the Music Soul Child. Now that's the mood I've been in. I haven't been in me wanting to listen to R&B quite yet. Because I think I played the Dende. I think that's his name, how you pronounce it. It's another R&B artist that came out. I rocked with his EP, so I went to his joint first because I'm like, Music Soul Child, you know what you're gonna get with him and Hit Boy. I just need to hear it through, but then I couldn't get off that R&B joint. So between that, the rap side of me was just like, oh, this Jim Jones and Hitmaker is kind of dope. These flips that they did, very subtle, simple. You know what I mean? But you know these replays because that's what he's doing. He's getting people to replay it. You know what I mean? And that's the other thing, like that's what I'm unfamiliar with, this whole replay thing, and yeah, man, that's a whole nother can of worms.
It's cheaper than sampling, but it's still sampling. But you know, you just replay.
And I think that people are arguing. It's like Hitmakers. That's all. What is he known for? He's gonna be on the radio, for sure. Gonna be on the radio,
for sure.
But out of his music is kind of like Diddy's son. Diddy's son gonna make remakes of Diddy's music. We know that.
Yeah.
So any Diddy's son job is gonna be what his daddy made. And for Hitmaker, anything I hear from Hitmaker is gonna be from what this other producer already did. Let me hear your original shit.
Right.
Like where's originality? Like let me see what you can do without all the things that came before you. If I give you these sounds, what can you do compared to a Hit Boy? Yeah, he's kind of doing the same thing, but he has a lot of songs to where he's not using samples. Heard it in Nipsey Hussle music.
Okay.
So
right.
Well, he got the leg up.
I agree. Yeah, Hit Boy is making music that can be sampled by people in the future. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Hitmaker, you know, he's just, like Green just said, man, he's just recycling. And that's cool because it's going to, like it was a hit when it came out in the 90s. It's going to be a hit again when it come out in 2023. Like, you know, he has to have an ear for it, but at the same time, Hit Boy is coming from a purist mind frame as a purist producer. Like, you know, so you got to love that.
Yeah. The rap purists, man, like they'll this is where it comes into where the person that does the most stuff and has a body of work, I think that's what the rap purists enjoy the most is the body of work, not necessarily the hits, because long term, while I may like this Jim Jones, I'm probably not gonna come back to it as often. But you know, the Nas joints that he's dropped, I'm coming back to those all the time. I can't tell you a Hitmaker album that really defines his sound or what he brings to the table. But you know, Green, you also brought up something else earlier. We're talking about these people that service in the middle, these people that give away the beats, and then somebody else does whatever they need to do, and they call them loopers, beat makers. So the other person on it is Southside. Southside is another person that was on his. So I want to play. He called it straight too. I don't have mustard, but I do have a clip. I do have a clip from Southside in terms of loopers, and I do want you guys' thoughts on loopers. Have you utilized them? What do you think? And so on and so forth. But I'll play this clip real quick.
They were talking about real musicians making shit from scratch as opposed to sampling.
But even the loop makers, these kids is putting their names on it. Let's clear this up. They're not even making the loops. They're forming people in the room that's real musicians, and they're giving them work for hires. They're paying them by the hour. So it might cost you $200 an hour to play a dude that play the guitar or the drums, and then you loop it into a Pro Tools and you bring it to me and act like you made it and collect publishing off of it. So the people that say that they're real loop makers are not even making the loops. The musicians, they work for hiring them and paying them.
Got you.
You know, so they're not even making it.
So how do y'all feel about this whole? Tell me a little bit. I'm unfamiliar to this part of the game. If you guys have experienced it, what are your thoughts on it?
Work for hire. Honestly, like Man, Southside, like, he brought up a very good point, but at the same time, people are sending him loops. So he's not even making the beat. Well, he's making the beat, the drums, he's dropping 808s behind him and doing the drum patterns, but people are sending him guitar loops, piano loops. And these are, like you said, work for hire contracts. If I'm a loop maker and I can't play the bass, and I bring a bass guitarist in, like, hey, I want the drum line to go do 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 do. Hey, I sign this work for hire contract. Here's 200, 300, 400 bucks. Thank you. You don't get any publishing off this. I'm gonna take this, arrange this with some pads, piano. This is my loop now, and I'm sending it to Southside. I mean, does it take the artistry out of it? Yeah, but I think that's the game that we're in, and that's the culture that we're in, and it sucks for a producer if you're playing the keys, guitar, you doing your own drum patterns. Does it suck to go up against someone that's just making loops and a 10 producer team, 10-man team? Yes, it does. You can't
10-man team. You can't win.
You can't win. They're literally making like a super team of producers on tracks. Like, you look at Beyonce's album, she got like 10
Oh my God, them credits are insane, man.
Crazy. But it's great. It's great. But Hitboy is saying I can do this by myself, in which he has done, so I mean, it just takes time. So
yeah.
I can't even lie. I'm kind of, like I said, I straddle the fence with this one too, because I have people that send me loops all the time. Every Friday, I have at least, I don't know how they found all of them on something. They send me loops every Friday. And I'm sure I'm part of a community to where it's like maybe 1,000 of us. But for me, my job is to tweak this so it don't sound like the other 999 people that got the loop. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if it's a loop. And one thing I pride myself on, every sound that comes from that loop, I can play because I'm a musician before I'm a music producer. I started off playing drums when I was 4 or 5 years old, transitioned to piano at like 12, 13. So it's like, all right, I got 2 of the basic instruments down packed. And with the piano, I can pull up horn, guitar, bass. So everything. I make at least I can lay down every loop that I get. Every loop I get, I put, if it's piano, it's a trap piano or something, I lay that down myself, because what I lay down might be better than his trap piano. So I might take his piano, plays that with mine. So now, let me do 808, percussion. Now I got my own song. I just use his as a template. On the other side, I have the sampling. I've made a lot of sample chops. I've been given a lot of sample chops to where it's just that 4 8-bar loop. Do what you do with the music, because nothing new under the sun. There's thousands of went on whosampled.com and it's like, man, can't do that one. Man, he done. Man, Rick Ross used. It's like, well, I don't have to use it the same way he does.
Yeah, it's tons of records that's been flipped 40, 50 times. I forgot what record I was just listening to something on my way to the crib. I was listening to some producer podcast or whatever, but it was some artist that has been flipped over 40 times in 40 different ways, and they played some of the records. They went through like 3 or 4 of them records. All 3 or 4 of them records sound completely different from what inspiration Green or CJ takes from the same record. Could be totally different routes. You could turn one into some trap shit, and you could turn some shit into some beautiful R&B. And most people, the listener that's receiving it, would be none the wiser.
Right.
That's facts. That's fact. And ultimately, it's solely up to the listener.
Key point.
A video. I forgot what famous.
Got something for that. Yep.
It's either guitar player or saxophonist. And somebody asked him, well, who do you make music for, you or the listener? And he said, well, ultimately I make music for me, but I'm the first listener. I'm the first listener of every beat even with my brothers, they might be down here and they listen to it, they hear the beats. And it's a lot of music I play. My brother's like, man, I ain't know you made that. When you make that? I'm please my ears first. And then once I hear that from them, it's like he's a fan. He's my brother, but he's gonna tell me when shit trash. So he's a fan. So once I hear the fans' perspective, it's like, all right. And for me, I've had to learn to take myself out of production phase and go into fan phase.
That's very important. Very important.
Very. I agree. I agree with Green. Like after I finish making a beat, I have different days where I go back and attack things from what could be a team perspective in the industry. Like after I make the beat, that's one day. Then I have a mixing day where I mix it. If I'm going to master it before I drop it somewhere, that's another day, because on those 3 different days, my ears need to be tuned in 3 different ways. I go from producer to mixing engineer to mastering engineer. And then in the end, I go to listener when I'm just listening. So, you know, it's a lot of hats that you wear when you when you're trying to do it all by yourself, but it's worth it.
That's you don't understand when you fully producing, it is stressful. So I can imagine where HitBoy came from, because he's like, man, I'm in from start to finish with Nas, who's considered a great.
Yeah.
You're on the radio, but in 5 or 10 years, I'm not going to listen to who is a Young Blue. Sexy.
Sexy. Yeah. I feel what you're saying. Like I said earlier.
A lot of music that we hear on the radio is for right now. If I can set the mood for right now, I'm good.
Right.
Because I'm getting my money right now and then I'm gone. That's the goal for a lot of people.
And I can't be mad at that. Everybody is not gonna be super rap music or hip hopped out. Like I can't make you have a love for it. I think to a certain degree, with his history, Berg, whatever you want to look at it, outside of the street shit or the shit that has happened to him, that aside, but just how he came in the game with DMX, and you know what I mean, and kind of just being like a young shorty and just progressing since he was 15. The dude got to be almost 40, in his 40s now, you know, or late 30s. Like to have a 20+ year career, be that and still be that young, and now ascending to those heights. I can't be mad at the him wanting to get his just due and get his music out there. But again, you know, certain people make music to stand the test of time, and certain people make music that I just want to hit. I just want to be on the radio. I want people dancing to my shit. So everybody got different motives. I just don't care. It just depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm in for with the shits, and I wanna go out to a bar. I don't want to listen to me at the bar. You feel me? And I'm me. I like my music, but I don't want to hear that shit at the bar. I want to hear some shit that's you know, a little bit more rhythmic.
Like, no lie, today you get in your car tonight. How excited would you be if you turn on the radio and it's like fresh hot shit that just dropped last month, Cash Flow featuring something?
Yeah.
For me, I'm not chasing that. I love what I'm doing right now. It's like, man, I'm serving these underground niggas all this work because, man, I feel like I'm really in a bag right now that not too many motherfuckers is really fucking with. And that's me talking my shit right now, which I don't do too on social shit, but I ain't too many niggas doing this shit. So I'm cool with what I'm doing. And I got off work today like, man, where this bread came from? Oh, you sold a beat on BeatStars.
Dope.
Like, I'm cool with that. That's a good ass feeling. But to hear myself on the radio, it's like, man, I'm walking outside with mink on every day, feeling like I'm the man.
Hey, man. Yeah, and you know, some people, like, you know, I forgot what artist I was listening to, but they're pretty established in what they were doing, and they were like, man, the first time they heard their record in public in their hood, you know what I mean, from hand to hand and doing all this shit, like they was like, it didn't matter who the person was, it just mattered that I heard my record outside of somebody's car. And he was like, man, we went and split a few Dutches and whatever they did, and, you know, and celebrated at the time, but they didn't know who that person was, but they, you know, they was excited just to hear it. So I could imagine, like, even when we got one dude on Twitter, shout out to Scott, he'll repost people's music every single day to let you know he's listening to it. It never gets annoying. It never feels like dick riding, especially if you're the person on pause. All right. It never feels like dick riding. I'm trying to say this the right way. It never feels like dick riding because if you're the artist that's being, you know, tagged and your music is being heard and somebody appreciates it, to not give a fuck about what people say negatively in this Twitter space and on social media, you appreciate it because at least, damn, one person's listening to my shit. You know, I'm helping them get through their day, they workout, whatever it may be. And I think that's all you could ask for as an artist. Does it reach the listener?
Cash, this thing you're talking about, I agree. And it's something just sparked in my mind. This thing we deal with, it's a mix of artistry and popularity at the same time. Like, everyone wants their music to be heard. No one drops something and like, I hope no one hears my art. People want their art shared. But then we get into this crazy thing of where something sensitive becomes who's popping. You know what I'm saying? But that's our culture. That's our culture in hip hop. We don't drop music and we just sit in the room and silently listen to it as hip hop. Like, yes. No, we listen to hip hop in our car, clubs, different venues. So the artists appreciate it in different kind of ways. So, you know, the purists may come in and say, this isn't this and this isn't that. But at the same time, like, he's entitled to his own opinion as a purist. But at the same time, if it don't slap in my car, then I ain't messing with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a crazy balance of sensitivity and popularity through music. It's crazy, man. You know.
That's a great point. I didn't really think about it or see it that way. And the whole time I would push that agenda because I would say, man, you're not about to go and rob a bank listening to Faith Evans.
Wow. Pull that from 3.
Yeah, man. You are different. So it does really rely on moods. I play Hitboy when I'm like, man, I'm trying to be motivated. I'm trying to, man, Racks in the Middle, he produced that. That's Nipsey. That's right. Yeah, I listen. But if I'm trying to vibe with my lady, I ain't pulling up Hitboy.
Nah,
I'm pulling up that sexy motherfucker, and it's like, damn, this joint up, and he vibed out on this joint. So it really depends on the mood that you're trying to create and that you feel for yourself. Honestly,
I agree.
Yeah. Like I said, man, we all got that competitive shit in us in terms of. I do want to be on everybody's record in terms of if I'm a producer, you know what I mean? Like I tap these buttons all the time, but you never know. I may send some shit out and somebody that's established may fuck with the shit and get on it. And the next thing you know, there's a demand for my production. And I've just started, you just never know when it could hit. You know what I mean? Just
never know.
But everybody wants that, you know what I mean? And if you start blowing up from there, I can understand how somebody who's been down and really been producing and really knows way more than me could feel a way, but you gotta urge this. You can't hate like at the same time you can't. Like I could know, like I could wrap circles around certain motherfuckers. I know I can, but at the same time, I can't be mad at somebody who has a different type of flow, or if it's just like, even if I don't like their flow, but they're getting fans and people are liking their shit, and I can't be that guy to be like, oh man, I don't know why they liking him. They should like me more. Like that's some corny shit. Like people like what they like. They're the judge. You know what I mean? So you can't really base it off of the popularity. You just gotta love it at some point first.
You're literally mad at the fans at that point.
Yeah, you mad at the fans. Why they don't like me? Like when you really think about it, you sound stupid. Like as the person that's, you know, but at the same time, like, you know, rap and sports is synonymous. And, you know, I don't think there's not one rapper, the most humblest of rappers that I listen to from underground to mainstream, that don't say they're the best in some way, shape, or form.
Facts.
Everybody says it. Everybody says it in rap. Like, I don't care how humble you are. Like, you pop your shit at a certain point.
But I think in rap, you can battle, like the bars, those are your swords. You know what I'm saying? But as a producer, and I bring it back. Like, how do you battle as a producer? Like, if I drop a track and it has, you know, original pianos, guitars, you know, all kind of original drums, and I'm battling someone who made something with a loop and it slaps harder and he didn't play any instruments, and I'm like, well, I know music theory. I know this. No one cares. You know what I'm saying? No one
I know music theory.
No one cares. So how do you battle as a producer? Like, how do you battle? Like, it's hard to battle as a producer.
You battle with hits like they do on the verses. Like, you gotta have them things, man. You gotta have them things with you. You know what I mean?
Tight to that though. I was just about to say, and I'm glad you said that. I did one beat battle.
Oh yeah, I remember that now. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but go ahead. Bring it
now,
up.
Appreciative for it. The nigga I went up against, I consider him a brother now. We talk and we planning some major shit. And it's like, I'm glad I formed that relationship with him. I'm glad I formed that relationship with the people that was in the Twitter space. Mm-hmm. On the flip side of that, I provided those hits, boom bap, and then I'm gonna give you R&B, and then I'm gonna go from that to trap, and then I'm gonna go from that to lo-fi, and then I'm gonna go from that to some sampled trap, and it's like I gave them so much that because they thought, oh, Jay Green is a boom bap producer. I was expecting boom bap battle, so it's a time to where it's like, man, this is too much for even me to process. I'm used to Hitmaker doing his radio. Listen to HitBoy, he be doing this shit with Nas. I ain't trying to hear all them down, them powerful and powerful messages he talking.
Yeah.
But with HitBoy, man, this is the type of music I'm used to. These the vibes I raised up on. But this nigga used to radio stuff. Man, I ain't listen to no radio. It kind of depends on the audience, truly.
Yeah.
Right.
In the audience, like I took everything they said into consideration. And now I'm pretty much about to drop an album with all of them. Like I have all of them like with an album in my pocket now. So it's like, hey, I love that. From that bullshit ass beat battle, I done formed a brother.
Hey, he lost, y'all. He lost. So that's why it's bullshit.
Oh, man, I got smoked. You got smoked. I said, this shit.
It happens. But like, I mean, here's the thing though, like the bounce back too, right? Is y'all did form a relationship. And it wasn't, you didn't cry, you ain't go cry about it. If anything, it forced you to be like, these motherfuckers gonna see. Once you know what I mean? Like I know it had to kick in at some point, right? The competitive spirit had to kick in. I'm sure.
Fully.
Hey Cash, I got another point of view for you.
What's up?
Check this out. So, you know, I think with Hitmaker, right? He says some stuff that I think the Hitmaker would always say. But I don't think the HitBoy would get on the radio and be like, no one could do what I do. Like, I think Hitmaker woke up, you know, sleeping giant. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is that the HitBoy can do what Hitmaker does, but Hitmaker can't do what HitBoy does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I just don't think that, you know, sometimes I think it's an irrelevant argument because it's like, hey, look at me, I'm popular. And then it's like, bro, you can't, then it's like, on the other hand, bro, you can't do what I do. But it's like, hey, look at me, I'm popular. So it's kind of...
Like, sit your corny ass down. That's what it really is. Sit your corny ass down, man.
Talking about the radio, bro, talking about the radio and hip-hop is like, you're in the safe zone in hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Hip-hop is dangerous music. You know what I'm saying? So when you're on the radio, you're in the safe zone. So you make a lot of popular safe zone music. That's great. But can you do this? You know, man, you know, I just don't think the HitBoy would have just went out, even though like being a purist producer, you sit back and you watch all these people make, you know, beats with loops, beats with this. And you know, the whole beat is just a loop. The drums a loop, the piano's a loop, the bass is a loop, everything loop. And you don't get mad at that. But then
none at all.
But then if they call you out, it's like, bro, what were you? What? Like I was letting you hustle. I was letting you do your thing. Why you
Why me? Exactly, yo. Like, exactly. Because like y'all sit over here, like I got all this cool ass shit. I don't spend half the time doing it just because I got other shit going on. But when I do like sit here and focus, I'm like,
Yeah.
why? I don't remember. Why is it this easy? You feel me? Like it's like I'll find like some loops and shit. Like who got some shit? Like other beat makers, they'll make some loops, or I'll find some. I mean, shit, Tracklib. You got all type of shit right now that them motherfuckers go right down to a 4-bar chop for you. You ain't even really got to chop it and be, you know, a swordsman, or you ain't got to be really precise with it. You go on there, Tracklib, do it for you. You drag that shit right out onto your DAW or onto your MPC or whatever it is instrument you use, drum machine. You chop it a little bit more, throw a little bit of sauce on there, and then you could put it out, and people like, they wouldn't care because they just want to know where you found that sample. It's ill. It's a head nodder. You took certain parts of that song, but it's fucking easy. You know what I mean? It's just you got to learn the basics, and it's not that hard in 2023 to do that. But I personally wouldn't. I wouldn't talk crazy either. I wouldn't talk crazy to people who could do it in they sleep. Like I'd be like, I just be super humble until I got some time under my belt before I get to popping my shit, you know?
Exactly. So
your battles.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying about Hitmaker, bro. It's like, it's fine. We all know what you're doing. As producers, we know what you're doing. Bro, don't pop your shit like that. Like don't like
you talking to the wrong one now, man.
You know what I'm saying?
It was funny though.
It's crazy because, you know, like from the outsiders, they don't know. Like, you know, like you just said, they just listening. But in the producer community, we know, and it's just like, man, he don't even have a legit argument. Like, what is he doing? Like, why is he, you know?
It's like, man, I felt for Hitmaker, bro, because immediately when I said that, I went on Twitter and was like, Hitmaker, I already know they talking shit about that.
Yep.
Hitmaker don't even do this, and man, Hitboy, and it's like, you had those ones like which open up the door to the discussion. Man, does it really matter? Because I hear him when I go to work. I hear him when I get off work. I hear him late at night, driving to do whatever I'm doing. I hear him. I have to hear him by putting in a CD or searching a name. Like I got to really search Nipsey or Nas, or I can't go to shuffle hip hop music
or Sirius XM where he's always on that shit. And even the purists, I would say this, like, you know, they get all caught up in stuff like that. But I'm sure when you at the function, you ain't trying to hear the shit that you rode to the function in. Like you trying to, you know, have a good time. And right now, if you talk about the last 4 or 5 years, Hitmaker, he's part of that timeline. At some point or another, you was out there two-stepping with your old lady or somebody you was trying to take down. It's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact, man. Like,
so it's like kind of leads back to the question: does it really matter?
And my answer is no. To each his own. Nigga. Like what you like. Like
it depends on what room you in.
Yeah, right. What room I'm in, I'm gonna lie there. That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Hitboy is way better than.
I'm feeling good. Hitmaker, what's up? It's like, all right, man. I'm trying to be motivated. I'm about to listen to Hustle and Motivate or something that you did with Nipsey Hussle, and it's like, yeah, I'm really in a different mindset. I'm not in this party room no more. So it kind of it truly depends.
And the older I get, the less and less, like, these things still fuel me because I love the competitive nature of it. So I still get a kick out of it, hence why we're here. You know what I mean? But at the same time, as I get older, all of the little trickery and shit that I used to fall for with the Kanye versus 50 and all these little random ass beefs or competition, I don't really get caught up in it. You'll never find me on Twitter arguing with anybody or any social media platform or anybody's comments. Like, even when I say my takes here, if you don't agree, I'll thumbs up your shit and keep it moving. Like, I don't have hours upon a time to say, this is how I felt. And this is it. You know what I mean? And I think we could live in a world, you know, and this is not riding both sides of the fence, but I'm living in a world where I'm being honest. I do listen to both those guys. I do enjoy the replays, the samples, whatever it is that Hitmaker's doing, the formula he got. It's working with several different people, R&B and rap artists, so and pop artists. So he's doing something right. You know what I mean? And he is a music producer because he's putting the right people in the room together. He's saying, no, that don't sound right. Sing that a little bit. You know, I'm sure he's doing those type of things when he's working with Seven Streeter and all these other R&B artists that he has worked with. So you got to give credit to that. And I think that that's something you got to give credit to. Other people just don't want to give it to him. And I think a lot of it, to be honest with you, is based on his history. That's really that's really So he even said trick in the verse. He even trick. There, Hitboy even went with.
Oh man.
It's like, man, keep your chain, brother.
Oh man. So
So Kash, do you? What about the other? You know, we mentioned before the other shots, cause you know we dissected this Hitboy Hitmaker thing. But why did Hitboy throw those additional shots out? Why do you think he did that?
Cause he feel away. He feel like he better than them motherfuckers, and those motherfuckers is all three of them are all over the radio for the last 10 years. No matter which one of them, Metro Boomin's been on a run since he's been in his fucking high school. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he got some of the hardest joints that we like from some of the best rappers in the South, to be honest with you, or the Jeezys, the T.I.s, the Gucci Manes. Like, I mean, these dudes are going to go down as legends if they're not already legends right now in most people's eyes. And they are. I mean, I know I'm in my 40s, you know, those guys are the soundtrack to my early adulthood all the way up until, you know, maybe 10 years ago-ish. You know what I mean? Where them guys was on a crazy run, and it's to Metro Boomin beats, and some of it is to Southside beats as well. You know, DJ Mustard, you know, when you're talking about the West Coast and what he's doing with YG and tons of other artists, Ty Dolla $ign and shit like that. Like, I fucking love Ty Dolla $ign. He can do no wrong in my eyes when he's specifically when I hear him with a Mustard beat. So I'm
great songwriter.
Great songwriter. So, you know, I'm never mad at either one of those guys. You know what I mean? I enjoy album Hitboy for an album, conceptual piece. And I enjoy Hitmaker for doing those hits. But Metro Boomin and Southside got a catalog. Like, so I'm not, you know, not to say he wouldn't want that versus, but that's gonna be a tough. That's gonna be them two will be a tough outs.
Do you think he was in his mad producer bag?
Oh, he was just going crazy. He had to get that shit off. He feel that way. He feel that way. Period.
As quickly responded. Oh yeah.
Oh, that was in the tuck. Them balls is in the tuck.
He responded quicker than
he was waiting.
That shit wasn't even like 2 days later after that interview.
But this the thing though, he did go on Twitter and say, "Hey, it was only one person I was really aiming this song at." He said, it's all love. I just wanted to mention y'all name and challenge y'all, but this other motherfucker who been talking greasy."
Yeah. Now.
And that part I love above anything. It's like I mention some names for me, like even in the production world, I'll even tell my homies, my friends, like, bro, you ain't producing shit like me, period. But these the same friends, it's like I'm hopping on a track when they say, "Hey, I need your pianos or 808s." It's like, bro, you ain't getting nah. I want to see. I'll send you a sample. See what you can do with that compared to what I'm doing over here. If you think you. And man, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's the camaraderie of it.
Right. Yeah. I like negative energy when it comes to people saying, "Nah, that ain't it." Like, so that motivates me. Like, I don't like for people to be like, "Sounds great. Everything's good."
Bro, bunch of yes. I hate it.
I hate it. You know what I mean? That's why I send it to certain people, because certain people just they don't want to offend you and they think you take things personal. You know what I mean? And I don't think that that's what HitBoy was trying to do with everybody else that caught astray, even though they were funny as fuck. But yeah, he got it off and it landed, man. It landed. So yeah, man, I can't wait to see what comes from it in terms of these guys making more hits, making more money. I don't think nothing negative will come from it outside of just great music. So
no doubt.
I'm here for that.
But I don't think it's important. I don't like, honestly, if you got a lane, if like he said, can Southside make a beat without 808s? I don't think it's important that he can't. You know what I'm saying? If he already got a lane, like why drift outside that lane? You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, you know, like when we talked the other day, you know, jack of all trades or master of one thing. Like, what's the best one? What's the best thing? Like, who knows?
And you've seen it work for a lot of people being in different things, you know what I mean? And you know, just because you rap don't mean you can't go out here and market your business and sell coffee like a Jada Kiss or pivot and do different things, you know what I mean? You just got to take the time to lock into the things that you're going to, you know, share with the world, you know what I mean? But there ain't nothing wrong with having a few different streams of income or a few different passions, you know what I mean, until you find something that works. And when you find something that works, back to your point of Southside, ride that motherfucker till the wheels fall off.
Ride the wave, bro.
Ride the wave.
Ride
the doing that.
Yeah, man.
What's to stop you from doing that? It's like, man, damn, you hate on yourself more than they hated on you right then, because you conform what they thought of you and the thing that you. I'm not doing that shit. I'll take your opinion and everything. But if at any time I'm feeling like, all right, this ain't coming from a place of I want to see success. This is coming from a place of jealousy, envy. I want to see her down. And a lot of time in hip hop, it's supposed to be that competitive, friendly nature.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, hey, yeah, I want to see what you can make with this beat, but if it's something that I can help you with, I'm gonna still help you make the best beat that you possibly can.
Yeah. Like I said, I love that, you know, in terms of that competitive nature and people just really, you know, cheering you on. And then, like I said, back to, like, I remember I tell y'all a funny story when I was just talking to Numbs the other day and I was like, yo, man, that one song we did together, we had like a posse cut. I was like, yo, I was taking shots at my homie. I was like, I always diss my homie that be talking shit. You know what I mean? Like, they'll listen and they'll be like, this one homie said it sounded dated. You know who it is, CJ. And so I went back and then I took that to not say, oh, I'm gonna go do these trap beats and talk about. There's gonna be a time and place for that. Not to say I won't ever do that, but I'm gonna take these soul records and I'm gonna make it do what it do, or these boom bap records, and I'm gonna find my niche there, and then slowly navigate. Give them something like a, you know, Conway does. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, these guys. When Benny worked with HitBoy, like he stepped out a little bit, but it's gonna be for a full project. It ain't gonna be, I'm gonna give you sprinkles and do that. But back to my point, he motivated me to go back in and tighten up my bars, not necessarily change my sound, because I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do, not what you think I sound good on. And that's the important piece is I don't think either one of these guys have changed what they do. Keep doing it and ride it till the wheels fall off, man. But before I take up too much more of you guys' time, man, y'all got any parting shots or anything y'all wanna leave off with before we get out of here?
Go ahead, Green.
I'm appreciative of Kash, man. First and foremost, definitely appreciative of Kash. I thank God for the opportunity. I always appreciate hopping on the podcast with you, man. I enjoy the time. I enjoy the conversations we have because I don't really get to do this too much outside of spaces like this. So I'm always appreciative of that. For all the fans and everybody watching and listening, like I said before, stay tuned, man. That's all I can tell you. Stay tuned because it's about to be a crazy year musically. If Jay Green attached to it and you hear Greenery beats on that, just believe it's going to be a hit.
For sure. Likewise, brother. CJ, what about you?
Like Green said, first and foremost, man, Kash, thanks for extending your platform to us, man. You know, we chop it up about music, beats, engineering, everything under the sun, music-wise. So thanks for, you know, letting me come on here, you know, and, chop it up with Green and make a new contact with him, because that's someone I seen you working with, but we're, several degrees of separation, thanks for, bridging that gap between two people and letting us have a producer conversation because, like sometimes producers are the ones in the background and we, rappers, you're a rapper, but, but sometimes
yeah, I know, I get it.
Sometimes, we're the little guys in the small print produced by, so thanks
The
for having
small
us.
print.
Man, talk about it, man.
Because one very important thing is like, rappers keep getting paid once the music comes out. But as a producer, if you don't have points on the master, then your job at selling that beat is done, So thanks for letting us come on here and get some, glory and some shine and just talk about, things that mean the most to us is music. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. Got a lot of stuff coming out, new music, new beats coming out. So anything that you hear that lady say, C. John made that music, hey, check into that. It's going down.
For sure. Yeah, y'all stay on after we get off here, man. Make sure y'all exchange the info or whatnot, like that, man. But again, follow C Jones at C Jones Music Official. Follow Greenery at Greenery 2Ys _ beats on all social media platforms. You can find him on there. He's very responsive. Again, if you want to get a beat, it costs money. But if he likes you, he may, he may work with you. May work with you. May work with you. Oh, sorry.
Music theory.
He knows music theory. This is episode 198, man. We out.